The number one thing that you need to know about the brain and nervous system when your child is super escalated is how co-regulation works. Take your hand. This is a Dan Siegel metaphor. Put your thumb in the middle, put the fingers over the top. This is a metaphor for the brain. This is the prefrontal cortex that's right here. Brain develops back to front. This develops last, like in the 20s. Okay, so that's right here. What lives there? Language, rational thought, critical thinking. Okay, when we become stressed out, overwhelmed, big feelings, we do this thing called flipping our lid. Okay, when that lid is flipped, then you've got the limbic system. That's here. That's like the seat of the emotions, constantly scanning to answer the question, am I safe? And the base of the brain, that controls like automatic functions, breathing, heartbeat, that kind of good stuff. So if your lid is flipped, what you need in order to get your lid back down, okay, this is the process of resiliency, is another nervous system, especially if you're a child, right? And you don't yet know how to do this action. What you need is another nervous system to help you get back into regulation. So if you're here and somebody comes along and they use a quiet whispering voice, they sit next to you, maybe they give you like some sensory input, some squeezing, some hugging, you may over time come into regulation with them, right? You borrow their calm, their nervous system in order to bring your own down. So what happens for our kids? Let's say they're hitting, kicking, throwing, yelling, screaming, grabbing, all that kind of stuff. Their lid is flipped. And sometimes our lids flip too, because we see our kids doing that stuff, hitting, kicking, grabbing, yelling, screaming. And we remember our own limbic system is scanning, okay? We start to remember, not consciously, but we start to have a felt sense of what that felt like for us when we were children, when that was happening. And our lid flips. And then you get into a relationship with your child, and there is no nervous system to help your child learn how to do that regulating process. And so you get into a co-escalating pattern. And what does that look like? That looks like kid yells, parent yells back, kid yells more, parent yells more, kid hits the wall, parent slams the door, right? And there's no process of like coming in and calming. I know it's really hard. This is like the hardest work of parenting, okay? But your task, if your child is escalated, is to get your own lid down and then to get into relationship with them so that over time you can get their lid down. This is really hard work, okay? So it involves doing some of the healing work yourself, and you might need some help with that. If you've got really big feelings coming up for yourself every time something goes down with your kid, you might need some help, right? If your reactions are bigger or feel bigger than whatever has just gone down, you might need some help. And needing help is fine. But most people need help. Okay, so then when your child yells, screams, kicks, hits, grabs, that's your cue to first take care of yourself and get your lid down, and then to come into a relationship with your child. Now the task is, how do you do this? And you're probably going to have to experiment. It could be by holding something warm or hot. It could be by drinking a glass of cold water. It could be by calling a friend for 5 seconds and feeling heard. It could be by tapping. Okay, it could be bilateral stimulation. It could be hugging your dog. There's many things it could be. And you're going to have to sort of like suss out for yourself, what do I like? Maybe it's reframing for yourself. Maybe it's something you say. Maybe it's turning the music on and having a dance party for a hot second before you get into a relationship with your child. You're looking for something that can help you get here real fast. This is it's hard, okay? But we're trying, right? We're giving it an effort. And then I'm going to come into a relationship and I'm going to use a whispering voice. Okay. And I'm going to know that it's not immediate, that just because I'm calm and I come over and I use a whispering voice and I stay super centered, they're not immediately going to come back into relationship with me and calm down. But over time, I'm going to have a much better chance of like staying with the plan that I want to stay with, of using the tools that I've seen on TikTok and elsewhere, of generating the felt sense of calm for my child if I can keep my own lid down. Okay? So if you can't, like say your kid is up here and you try, but then you get lid flip because you're starting to get frustrated. Okay. Take a hot beat again, either swap out if you can, but if you can't, take a hot second for yourself. And you can even language that and message that after the fact to your child. So you might say, oh my gosh, can you believe it? I just got so frustrated. I'm still working on it. I'm probably going to even figure it out. I bet tomorrow I'll remember. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to try X, Y, and Z. You can say that. It's okay to say that, right? And then you're just like in this practice so that over time you practice getting your lid down and then you practice helping your child get their lid down. It's just a practice. And that necessarily means that it's not always going to be super easy. And then sometimes it's not even going to work. And if it doesn't work, don't beat yourself up about it, right? That's going to probably make you lid flippy again. And you need to keep your own lid down. So what you say to yourself about this practice needs to be, I'm doing the best I can and I'm learning and I'm trying and I'm going to get it. And I'm a good parent. And we can figure this out and we can do hard things and I've got it. And then you just got to keep practicing and practicing and practicing. And you know what's going to happen? Your child is going to see you practicing and practicing and practicing. And your modeling is like, oh my gosh, it's the most important thing. It is the best way to teach your kids to get their own lids down. So you keep practicing and they're watching you practice. And over time, that practice is something that like becomes part of the woven culture of your family. And you don't have to be perfect. There are going to be holes. There's going to be times when you flip your lid and slam a door or you yell or you swear or whatever happens. You like put them in the car and you have to walk around the car once before you're ready to get in because it's like, that was a hard one. That's okay, right? It's like you have to hold that and also be on a simultaneous path to getting your lid down and staying more regulated and healing the hurts that make you get triggered really easily. And you might need help with that. That help can look lots of different ways. It might be, well, it can look lots of different ways. Maybe it's a friend you sit with and that you're accountable to. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe it's your community on social media. Maybe it's a therapist. Maybe it's somebody you go to at your church. Maybe it's just like showing up with the moms and like laughing at school drop off. Maybe it's humor. Maybe it's coaching. Maybe it's movement. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's learning and, like fill your own cup and consider like, what does the support look like for you as you hold the need of your children to learn to regulate and need you to learn to regulate with them? That's where we're going, right? That's the path we're on, is this like connected piece where we're figuring out how to do it more of the time and figuring out how to be more gentle with ourselves as we learn how to do it more of the time.